Season 4 of SpongeBob isn't always will be an odd bird. Made right after the movie, it's no wonder a generation has as much a connection to it as the early seasons. It was already riding the coattails of a juggernaut, and made people laugh well enough. But its reputation as being a harbourer of the show's descent into mediocrity is similarly strong. The jokes and animation were still great, but the character writing was clearly less consistent than before. One of my favourite videos I've done is the review I did last year for Fear of a Krabby Patty, the Season 4 premiere, and the ways it ensured SpongeBob's survival with a shaken-up production team. But it was clear they couldn't keep making the same show as before year in year out, and nowhere is this more noticeable than with The Gift of Gum. While not the last episode produced for Season 4, that would be The Pink Purloiner, it was decided to package it with Best Day Ever as the 20th and final half hour of the season for some reason. Each ending episode up to now at least said something about the season at large. SpongeBob's overeager traits telegraphed across Season 1 were displayed in Mermaid Man 2. Season 2's rising stakes reached a fever pitch with the Alaskan bullworm, and the irreverent mayhem of Season 3 heavily defined pranks a lot. The Gift of Gum, devised by Zeus Service, Eric Weiss, and Danny Michelli, said something about Season 4, I've just never been sure what. This episode doesn't beat around the bush, it shows you up front what it's all about, a huge gross wad of used gum. Someone at Nick must have had a kink for gum collections, and I'm not surprised. Patrick's trading his prized ball of gum, Gummy, to SpongeBob for Best Friends Day. And sure, right out the gate there's some gross subject matter, but also this gem of a joke.
What's wrong, buddy?
You got me such an amazing gift, and all I got you was that.
Greetings, I am Robo 2.1, your personal robot servant.
I'd call it a fair trade. Patrick gets to reap the benefits of having a good friend, and SpongeBob has to put up with a symbol of his friendship to Patrick. It's weird and disgusting, but the question is, can he make it work? No kidding he's gonna try to dispose of Gummy. Both attempts being thwarted by Patrick, but he's able to sweet talk his way out of a fight. And again, fair enough, Gummy looks nice in a garbage can because that's where he belongs. But Patrick puts him on SpongeBob's house like a kind of mantle, believing it to be the best view of Gummy possible. Welp.
Wishful thinking, Gary. What burglar would want to steal that thing?
Why are you looking at me like that? I am not getting back in that tutu. SpongeBob tries disguising himself as a burglar to steal Gummy away, really taking it away, and here comes a scene that I'm sure we all forget is in the episode at some point. There's a bunch of refugees inside Gummy that SpongeBob unintentionally frees.
I'm free! I'm sugar-free!
I wonder if this episode was running short. But this is where the ending begins. SpongeBob pulls too hard and gets stuck in the gooey gullet of grief, and Gummy becomes a spiderweb of pink, sticky chaos. Sandy comes over and tries to help out, but only ends up making it worse. Squidward appears just to get into trouble. He has no impact on the story outside of this single joke.
Of course.
But Patrick then comes around, delighted to see what SpongeBob's done with Gummy, and more annoyed with the robot he got yesterday. Him just talking the mess out with SpongeBob and reversing the trade is my favourite bit of the episode. It's a nice, touching resolution to the communication problem they had over the course of the story. Besides, him not liking Robuddy isn't portrayed as spoiled rottenness or the like, rather it's showing that Patrick veers more towards the simple joys of life. It's then followed up by Patrick cleaning up by chewing Gummy back up, proving he can still have fun with his wad of gum. I know what I just said, but this is pretty goofy. It's like one of the writers just remembered that SpongeBob's Funny Kids Show, and Funny Kids Show has to have wacky ending where everyone's covered in gum.
Wow! This is the best Friends Day ever!
In the timeline where Season 4 was the last and The Gift of Gum was the final episode, do you think they have a bunch of dark tabloid articles about how your favourite childhood cartoon ended with all the characters suffocating to death under used gum as a cruel allegory for pollution in the ocean? I'll let you be the judge of that. All jokes aside, for those of you who lump Season 4 in with the classic SpongeBob canon and disregard 5 onward, how do you feel about the gift of gum being the end? I was in that boat before the post-sequel era began, and I remember having rocky thoughts on this episode. It was one of the first times that one began right out the gate showing you it's going to be gross, so there's already some issues with it being unappealing. But after SpongeBob takes it all in, the grossed out factors put out of focus. Gummy doesn't even show lost clothes and food once he advances to Wonderland mode. I think 15-year-old me put it best. I think that instantly gives the episode an advantage over most other grossed out episodes. If a situation is disgusting and the characters act disgusted, then that's a successful joke. However, if you just leave it on the screen without adequate juxtaposition, the joke is more on the audience than the characters. He's an idiot, but he's right. You just need this one reaction, and that's that. Let the absurdity of Gummy carry it all. Animation-wise, it's a standard-looking Season 4 episode. It's all on one street and in one house, but always manages to vary up the locations and time of day so it doesn't get boring to look at. I'm looking at you, Big Sister Sam, you might as well be a stage play. And the design of Wonderland Gummy is pretty good. It does its job being creepy, but you can buy Patrick twisting it into looking fantastical. But that doesn't excuse him being the worst character in the episode. I can't even with Gummy, if that is your real name. He does nothing useful, he only makes the situation worse, and while there is some sentimental value on Patrick's behalf, it's always inferred. He never does anything nice to Patrick. The other characters are fine though. SpongeBob learns to be upfront with Patrick well enough. Patrick's got some quirks, but is still an entertaining character, and Robuddy makes for another memorable element to the story. Sandy and Squidward kind of turn up though. Special mention should go to Vincent Waller voicing both the underwear and this trucker character. He has quite a range.
Come on, old blue! Don't you talk back to me! Do as you're told!
But overall, I don't think The Gift of Gum is that great of an episode. It isn't particularly funny, and the plot is just barely held together by a bunch of gum. It does plenty of things okay enough, which is why I don't hate it, but it doesn't do anything super well either. Like this truck, it's in the middle of the road. So why did the staff place it at the end of the season, and why is it featured on the cover of 2 different DVDs? Well, I guess even the staff figured it was nothing special, so buried it here, which doesn't give it much distinction of wrapping up Season 4. I guess it symbolizes the more childish nature and emphasis on story over jokes, but the Pink Purloiner, the last episode to be produced, would have been a better send-off. I guess that's the conflict I feel when 2/3 of the season are really good, just as good as the pre-movie seasons if you ask me, and the other third is kind of synthetic, made for the purpose of being more SpongeBob rather than good SpongeBob. I get why plenty of people end their SpongeBob journey here. It doesn't leave you coming back for more unlike the other finales, but certainly not in a rage quit sense. As for why it's on the DVD covers, it's Nickelodeon. They're all about making a mess and expressing yourself through it. I guess that wraps up my thesis statement on this episode. I wrote a thesis on this. That's SpongeBob for you. Goodbye for now.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.